6th Executive Group. So we have 3 major pillars in our business. We have corporate advisory, so we help employers, or we help organizations drive their business performance. We have the executive search or the talent management business, where we help recruit, leadership recruitment stuff. And third, we have the training and development and training and education. So and that training and education is very specialized in supply chain and logistics. So 16 years in the business now. Registered HQ office in Australia. I run the Southeast Asia business out of Singapore, and has been with the business for about 4 or 5 years now. So why am I here? Well, I'm here to talk about people, a subject matter that I'm very passionate about. As mentioned in the introduction, I've been in the recruitment, talent management, people management for about 13 years now. So that's what I intend to do, to talk to you about people and to talk about, perhaps share some information or best practices within your organization about people management. So in the next hour, I'll be talking about that, but I think I'd like to allot a portion of my 1 hour to talk about anything that you want to know from me, and I think it's to your benefit as well, to draw out something from my presentation. So I'd like this to be more of a low-key type of conversation. So it's like get everyone engaged on this. 3 months ago, I was commissioned to recruit for 2 major positions in a very large high technology manufacturing company. So they are a manufacturing company, and their products are used by the aerospace, aeronautic, IT, communication. So very high technology. And one of the major requirements that they have mentioned, as when we're doing the job briefing, is the industry-related experience. And what I have observed in my searches or in my role is that the more the company becomes technical, the more that they will require their employees to have relevant experience. So if we're talking about, I'm a high technology company, we produce this type of products, then I need someone who will come into my organization with the similar industry experience. E-commerce now has been has been booming for the past years now. And they believe that the sourcing and category expertise in that particular space is lacking. And I think what I would like to focus on as well would be the problem solving or failure and root cause analytics. They believe that anyone, or organizations believe that anyone who comes into their business would have to have that, like second nature to them, that what is the problem, what is the cause, how do I solve it? So I think, looking at it, this would be the key technical skills. I will still be coming back to this slide later on in my discussion, because I'd like to point out something also in relation to this. I think there are also common denominators. Procurement people are, I presume, are procurement leaders. They are the best negotiator I have ever met in my entire life. And this is, gained from my experience when I conduct my interviews, or when I talk to head of procurement as well, and we talk about their subject matter. And I think that those are the soft skills and still what they're actually looking for. So on the project that I did, we talk about what are the top difficulties. So these are my requirements, but this is what the talent look like. And they have difficulty finding this profile into a talent. Knows work priorities or time management, right? Unable to differentiate what is strategic and what is tactical or operational. Thinking out of the box, ethics, technical, cultural gaps. Now I'm looking at these difficulties and I'm thinking, how do we resolve this actually as an organization, as decision makers, as business managers? And I believe that how I address this lies really on each and every one of us in this room. And that's, I believe, is taking a concerted effort in making sure that, for instance, lacking creativity. As managers, we need to be able to create an environment where we encourage creativity, or where we encourage thinking, out of the box. Or if we talk about, technically challenged, like the respondent from the previous slide saying they lack the category or procurement expertise. But why, right? So I think what we need to do on this difficulty is we need to create talents. Talents, they just don't grow on trees and we harvest them. We need to be able to create talent. So I think the way to be able to address this is to create an environment, to create a workplace where you encourage these cultural gaps. Move your people around. Send them to projects. India, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand. If they are sitting here in Singapore, and vice versa as well. There is also another organization that we work closely with, and I think Michael is quite familiar with that as well. Schneider Electric, large organization, $40 billion business, over a century-year-old. What they do best in their organization, they move people around. So correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but when I walked into the supply chain and logistics department, and that occupies 2 floors of their office, half of it you will see are local Singaporeans, and the other half are like United Nations, like Miss Universe, like faces, coming from Asia. I've done a lot of senior roles, and the immediate superiors or the hiring authorities are what? Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, India. And that's what they're good at. They are good at moving their people around, and that's a way of addressing cultural gaps. So we conduct annual global survey, all right? And this year, 2015, right? 2015 is the 8th year that we're conducting the global survey. Last year, 2014, we have the highest record of employers globally saying that 36% claims that they have shortage of talent, right? So what I need to talk about now is what will be the impact of this. So 36% is about 1/3 of those respondents, right? I mean, it's not as significant, although it's a number, it's a third of that. But I believe that the impact of talent shortage lies really on our inability, or the organization's inability, to serve clients, right? So if no one's gonna pick up the phone and answer and cater to the customer, then that's it. We don't have a business if we don't have any clients. If you don't have anyone in our business to service the clients, and in that way you reduce your competitiveness and productivity. So if you reduce your productivity and competitiveness, you are then creating a very stressful environment to your business. So you increase employee turnover. They're stressed out in their job. So those who are left in the organization, they reduce their inability to think or to be creative, because they're doing 2-3 more stuff that they're supposed to do. And then that leads to costs, because I need to pay Ken to stay in my business so she can do the job that do the job of those who have left the organization. And that will then, redound to low morale from Ken. So if you look at it, yes, that's a number, I think that's still a third of that, but it has a domino or cascading effect on the organization. Leaders, they just don't knock on doors and says, hey, I'd like to become a leader, hire me. They don't. You have to spend time, you have to spend effort in doing that. And when when you're looking for a good leader into your organization, they have to be individuals who can nurture as well and who can pass on that knowledge. Not those who actually keep the information to themselves. I don't want to make myself redundant, so I'm just going to keep everything. It's not about that. It's about someone who is has nurturing or mentoring ability in them that they can pass on the knowledge to. actively encourage future leaders. So how do we actually do this? So you have in your business a young chap. Let me just just don't go too far, but let's use my organization as an example. Fauci Lee has just graduated your degree or diploma course 6 months ago or something. So he's been in the business for about a year now, I presume, or less than a year. And part of his training in the organization is to expose him to to projects beyond Singapore. So Fauci here has traveled to Vietnam, Thailand as well, as part of the project, and that's how we actively encourage future leaders. So at some point in his career, he will be leading the marketing business and beyond that for our organization. And I think it's through encouraging them to do beyond their capability that you allow to develop leaders in your organization. Investing in educating your employees, employer branding, we talk about that. Refining your recruitment and retention practices. So being able to identify or engage at the early stage of the process, and then moving on to that. Smarter compensation and incentives, I think we've pretty much covered that in our earlier slide. So that ends my presentation. And I think as mentioned earlier in my introduction, I'd like this to be a conversation. I mean, while I hope that you benefited something from my presentation.